So welcome to Storytime. Thank you for coming today. And so we're celebrating World Book Day. How exciting. World Book Day was actually earlier in the week, but we've saved a special day today to be able to watch it, for you guys to watch so we can celebrate a special book. So today's book is Changing the Guard at Buckingham Palace, featuring someone very special. I think that's you. But unfortunately, as you can see, this isn't Pooh Bear who normally comes to visit. This is other Pooh Bear. And other Pooh Bear is going to be our special guest today, along with some special friends. So we've also got Tigger, who is just inside the picture there. And we've also got their friend Eeyore. How exciting! So Eeyore's going to come and sit down the side. I don't know if you guys can see him, but we'll prop him up. Now the reason that we've got these guys come to say hi, actually he might be able to fit in here a bit better, so I don't want him to miss out really, do you? No. Is because normal Pooh Bear, he just left. He went and got another job, unfortunately, and it's quite a cool job though, and it's pretty relevant to our story. So I made a few calls, and it turns out that he was allowed to come back just for today. So here's Pooh Bear, who we know and love. Say hi, Pooh. Hi. He's all kitted out in his new uniform for his new job. How excited is that? So I think we're going to find you a special place to sit so that everyone can see you. You're going to have to come sit here at the front, I think. There we go. As usual, when we have the gang from the 100 Acre Wood, I normally get squished to the side, but that's okay. So we're going to get started now with our story now that everybody's here. This is Changing the Guard at Buckingham Palace. It's a collection of poems by A.A. Milne, who wrote Winnie the Pooh, and they are illustrated by E.H. Shepard, who also illustrated Winnie the Pooh. Now, there were two poem books that they worked collaboratively on, and let me just make sure that I get these right. So they are When We Were Very Young and Now We Are Six. And this is actually different poems taken from both of them stories and put together to give a screenshot of life in Britain at a particular time. Now, we're very lucky because there's a particular poem in this book, which I'm going to read out to you, that has been allowed to be in this book by special permission, and I'll explain that at the end. So we'll get started now with a few selected poems. We're not going to go through all of them. That will hopefully be something you guys can enjoy for World Book Day. And of course, as is proper on World Book Day, you know, you're supposed to dress up. I have my Books and Cats t-shirt on, and then obviously Pooh Bear came as one of the guards in the story. So our first story is called it's called Buckingham Palace. They're changing the guard at Buckingham Palace. Christopher Robin went down with Alice. Alice is marrying one of the guard. A soldier's life is terrible hard, says Alice. They're changing the guard at Buckingham Palace. Christopher Robin went down with Alice. We saw a guard in a sentry box. One of the sergeants looks after their socks, says Alice. They're changing the guard at Buckingham Palace. Christopher Robin went down with Alice. We looked for the king, but he never came. Well, God take care of him all the same, says Alice. They're changing the guard at Buckingham Palace. Christopher Robin went down with Alice. They've great parties inside the grounds. I wouldn't be king for £100, says Alice. They're changing guard at Buckingham Palace. Christopher Robin went down with Alice. A face looked out, but it wasn't the king's. He's much too busy assigning things, says Alice. They're changing the guard at Buckingham Palace. Christopher Robin went down with Alice. Do you think the king knows all about me? Sure to, dear, but it's time for tea, says Alice. Oh, sorry. Lines and squares. Whenever I walk in a London street, I'm ever so careful to watch my feet, and I keep in the squares and the masses of bears who wait at the corners all ready to eat, the sillies who tread on the lines in the street. Go back to their lairs, and I say to them, bears, just look how I'm walking in all of the squares. And the little bears growl to each other, he's mine, as soon as he's silly and steps on a line. And some of the bigger bears try to pretend that they came round the corner to look for a friend. And they try to pretend that nobody cares whether you walk on the lines or squares. But only the sillies believe their talk. It's ever so important how you walk. And it's ever so jolly to call out, bears, just watch me walking in all the squares. The Three Foxes. Once upon a time, there were 3 little foxes who didn't wear stockings and they didn't wear sockses, but they all had handkerchiefs to blow their noses, and they kept their handkerchiefs in cardboard boxes. They lived in the forest in 3 little houses, and they didn't wear coats and they didn't wear trousers. They ran through the woods on their little bare tootsies, and they played touch last with a family of mouses. They didn't go shopping in the high street shopses, but they caught what they wanted in the woods and copses. They all went fishing, and they caught 3 wormses, and they went out hunting, and they caught 3 waspses. They went to a fair, and they won all the prizes, 3 plum puddingses and 3 mince pieses. They rode on elephants and swang on swingses, and hit 3 coconuts at coconut shies. That's all I know of the 3 little foxes who kept their handkerchiefs in cardboard boxes. They lived in the forest in 3 little houses, where they didn't wear coats and they didn't wear trousers, and they didn't wear stockings and they didn't wear sockses. Spring morning. Where am I going? I don't quite know. Down to the stream where the kingcups grow, up to the hill where the pine trees blow. Anywhere, anywhere, I don't know. Where am I going? The clouds sail by, little ones, baby ones, over the sky. Where am I going? The shadows pass, little ones, baby ones, over the grass. If you were a cloud and sailed up there, you'd sail on water as blue as air, and you'd see me here in the fields and say, doesn't the sky look green today? Where am I going? The high rooks call, it's awful fun to be born at all. Where am I going? The ring doves coo. We do have beautiful things to do. If you were a bird and lived on high, you'd lean on the wind when the wind came by. You'd say to the wind when it took you away, that's where I wanted to go today. Where am I going? I don't quite know. What does it matter where people go? Down to the wood and where the bluebells grow. Anywhere, anywhere, I don't know. Sand between the toes. I went down to the shouting sea, taking Christopher down with me, for nurse had given us sixpence each, and down we went to the beach. We had sand in the eyes, and the ears, and the nose, and sand in the hair, and sand between the toes. Whenever a good nor'wester blows, Christopher is certain of sand between the toes. The sea was galloping grey and white. Christopher clutched his sixpence tight. We clambered over the humping sand, and Christopher held my hand. We had sand in the eyes, and the ears, and the nose, and sand in the hair, and sand between the toes. Whenever a good nor'wester blows, Christopher is certain of sand between the toes. There was a roaring in the sky, the seagulls cried as they blew by. We tried to talk but had to shout, nobody else was out. When we got home, we had sand in the hair, in the eyes and the ears, and everywhere. Whenever a good nor'wester blows, Christopher is found with sand between the toes. Teddy bear. A bear, however hard he tries, grows tubby without exercise. Our teddy bear is short and fat, which is not to be wondered at. He gets what exercise he can by falling off the ottoman, but generally seems to lack the energy to clamber back. Now tubbiness is just the thing which gets a fellow wondering. The teddy worried lots about the fact that he was rather stout. He thought, if only I were thin, but how does anyone begin? He thought, it really isn't fair to grudge me exercise and air. For many weeks he pressed in vain his nose against the window pane, and envied those who walked about, reducing their unwanted stout. None of the people he could see is quite, he said, as fat as me. Then, with still a more moving sigh, I mean, he said, as fat as I. Now Teddy was only right, slept in the ottoman at night, and with him crowded in as well, more animals than I can tell. Not only these, but books and things, such as kind relation brings, old tales of once upon a time, and history retold in rhyme. One night it happened that he took a peep at an old picture book, wherein he came across, by chance, a picture of the King of France, a stoutish man, and down below, these words, King Louis, so-and-so, nicknamed the Handsome, there he sat. And, think of that, the man was fat. Our bear rejoiced like anything to read about this famous king, nicknamed the Handsome, there he sat. And certainly the man was fat, nicknamed the Handsome, not a doubt. The man was definitely stout. Why then a bear, for all his tub, might yet be named the Handsome Cub. Might yet be named, or did he mean that years ago he might have been, and for now he felt a slight misgiving? Is Louis so-and-so still living? Fashions in beauty have a way of altering from day to day. Is handsome Louis with us yet? Unfortunately, I forget. Next morning, nose to window pane, the doubt occurred to him again. One question hammered in his head. Is he alive, or is he dead? Thus nose to pane he pondered, but the lattice window loosely shut, swung open, and with one startled "Oh!" our Teddy disappeared below. There happened to be passing by a plump man with a twinkling eye, who, seeing Teddy in the street, raised him politely to his feet, and murmured kindly in his ear soft words of comfort and of cheer. Well, well, allow me. Not at all. Tut, tut, a very nasty fool. Our Teddy answered not a word. It's doubtful if he even heard. Our bear could only look and look. The stout man in the picture book! That handsome king! Could this be he? This man of adiposity? Impossible, he thought, but still, no harm in asking. Yes, I will. Are you, he said, by any chance, His Majesty the King of France? The other answered, I am that, bowed stiffly, and removed his hat, then said, Excuse me, with an air, but is this Mr. Edward Bear? And Teddy, bending very low, replied politely, Even so. They stood beneath the window there, the King and Mr. Edward Bear, and handsome, if a trifle fat, talked carelessly of this and that. Then said his Majesty, Well, well, I must get on, and rang the bell. Your bear, I think, he smiled. Good day, and turned and went upon his way. A bear, however hard he tries, grows tubby without exercise. Our teddy bear is short and fat, which is not to be wondered at. But do you think it worries him to know that he is far from slim? No, just the other way. He's proud of being short and stout. Oh, sorry. Different page. Vespers. Little boy kneels at the foot of the bed, droops on the little hands, little gold head. Hush, hush, whisper who dares, Christopher Robin is saying his prayers. God bless Mummy, I know that's right. Wasn't it fun in the bath tonight? The cold so cold, and the hot so hot. Oh, God bless Daddy, I quite forgot. If I open my fingers a little bit more, I can see Nanny's dressing gown on the floor, on the door. It's a beautiful blue, but it hasn't a hood. Oh, God bless Nanny and make her good. Mine has a hood, and I lie in bed and pull the hood right over my head, and I shut my eyes and curl up small, and nobody knows that I'm there at all. Oh, thank you God for a lovely day. And what was the other I had to say? I said, bless Daddy, so what can it be? Oh, now I remember it. God bless me. Little boy kneels at the foot of the bed, droops on the little hands, little gold head. Hush, hush, whisper who dares. Christopher Robin is saying his prayers. Us two. Wherever I am, there's always Pooh. There's always Pooh and me. Whatever I do, he wants to do. Where are you going today? Says Pooh. Well, that's very odd, 'cause I was too. Let's go together, says Pooh, says he. Let's go together, says Pooh. What's twice 11? I said to Pooh. Twice what? Said Pooh to me. I think it ought to be 22. Just what I think myself, said Pooh. It wasn't an easy sum to do, but that's what it is, said Pooh, said he. That's what it is, said Pooh. Let's look for dragons, I said to Pooh. Yes, let's, said Pooh to me. We crossed the river and found a few. Yes, those are dragons all right, said Pooh. As soon as I saw their beaks I knew. That's what they are, said Pooh, said he. That's what they are, said Pooh. Let's frighten the dragons, I said to Pooh. That's right, said Pooh to me. I'm not afraid, I said to Pooh, and held his paw and shouted, Shoo, silly old dragons, and off they flew. I wasn't afraid, said Pooh, said he. I'm never afraid with you. So wherever I am, there's always Pooh. There's always Pooh and me. What would I do, I said to Pooh, if it wasn't for you? And Pooh said, True. It isn't much fun for one, but two can stick together, says Pooh, says he. That's how it is, says Pooh. So that was our selection of poems from the copy of Changing God at Buckingham Palace, written by A. Milne and illustrated by E.H. Shepard. The original poems came from two different books by the same author and illustrator. They are When We Were Very Young and Now We Are Six. Obviously, Winnie the Pooh was the character that A.A. Milne created from Edward Bear, from his son Christopher Robin's teddy bear. We have our little versions here. And what was quite nice about this is that we got to include the poem Vespers. So for people who don't know, Vespers was the first thing that A.A. Milne wrote about using Christopher Robin as the subject matter. And it's a little poem, and it's in this book by special permission because it's actually part of the royal collection. In about 100 years ago, in the 1920s, the Princess Marie Louise, who was a cousin of King George V, knew that his wife, Queen Mary, was a lover of all things miniature craft, which is amazing. I love miniature craft too. So, as a gift and in cohorts with her friend, an architect, they created the Queen's Doll's House. So if you don't know what the Queen's Doll's House is, it's amazing, so you should definitely look it up. It's over 3 foot tall, and it's a huge doll's house which is kept at Windsor Castle, and it's the perfect representation of what a king's house should be. And consider it's a doll's house, it has running hot water and has electricity, and most importantly, it has an amazing library. And in this library are loads of these tiny, they're about this big, tiny little books, and everything has been made by, at the time, famous authors. So A.A. Milne, alongside people like J.M. Barrie, who wrote Peter Pan, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes series, they went out and they collected all of this work, and they invited artists and authors and writers to create things and send them in so they could be part of the collection in the Queen's Doll's House. And Vespers was the submission by A.A. Milne. So he gave away his poem to the Queen to keep in the doll's house. So anytime it needs to be printed, or anyone wants to print it, they need to get special permission. So I highly recommend looking that up, and maybe one day when people get to visit things again, you should go to Windsor Castle and visit the doll's house. It is magical. I haven't been, but I've seen many pictures and I think it looks magical. And I just think that's such a lovely thing to include, not only in this book and to share with you guys, but also to include in that. So I hope you've had a nice time this afternoon with me, Pooh, Tigger, Eeyore, and we can't wait to see you next week. And next week we're celebrating International Women's Day, so we have another special book, so that would be really exciting too. Well, I think we should probably let Pooh Bear go. I mean, he seems like he's got a job to do. I'm pretty sure he should be out guarding something. And for anyone who wants to know the detail and hasn't seen it, he even has a little sword. How cute is that? This is quite cute. Maybe you should wear this all the time. This is pretty good. But yeah, so from me, these three, I'm Pooh Bear. Thank you and goodbye. Bye.